evening and welcome back to Hampden for your Rangers Review post-match show. Myself and Stevie here to go through the 2-0 victory over St Johnstone, goals in the second half from Cyril Dessers and Ross McCausland. Secure what I would say was a deserved victory for Rangers on the night. Perhaps not a scintillating performance at times, but I don't think anyone could argue with the final outcome. There has been some argument over the nature of the first Rangers goal. You can watch both press conferences from Philippe Clement and Craig Levine on the Rangers Review YouTube page. Craig starts and ends with a sweary word, just to put it out there. But he was clearly unhappy with the goal. Clement didn't have that many questions over it. As a man in the middle, a man in black yourself, Stevie, how would you go through it?
First of all, what I would say is it's a very well-deserved Rangers victory. I thought Rangers, despite everything's very negative at the moment and people can't wait to tell us how garbage this team are, the truth is that it could have been 2 or 3 at half-time because we created 6 clear chances. St Johnstone could have nicked one as well, absolutely. But we did create chances. I thought there was individually some good performances out there. I really enjoyed Jeffrey's performance at left back, and Barron, when he came on, was very good. Dessers had a decent involvement. Matondo actually was good. You know, he's still a bit wasteful, isn't he? You know what you're going to get. Czerny, again, I thought he was on the cusp of having a good game, but again, wasted maybe too many stuff. But
wasteful was the word that I used.
Wasteful, aye.
That was one of the words I used in my analysis piece. I think wasteful sums Rangers up. As if they'd won 5-0 tonight, you would say, well, they've taken every one of their chances. But wasteful, I think, probably sums up.
If you think about the first half, Danilo has 2 chances. Tav has 2 shots that are free outside the box. We have, Rabbi Matondo has chances, just like being said. And in the second half, Czerny cuts in. Czerny could have had a couple of goals today. So that we're creating opportunities. And I thought, do you know what? Despite the fact, I thought St Johnstone, the 2 boys up front were quite tricky. So I thought we've handled it well. Getting to the decision. The decision is a complete mess by the referee. You should never, ever, and you're told not to, use your hands to signal and everything else until the decision is properly gone. So he's made an absolute error there. I'm not convinced he's blown his whistle. I really don't think he's blown his whistle. I think he's pointed and given, or going to give the decision, realises he has to let the phase go, and then blows his whistle to give the foul. Why he's so quick to give the foul, I'm not so sure, because you should let it play out. He doesn't, or he does, but doesn't by signalling. So listen, if it was us, I think we'd have every right to be complaining about that. But ultimately, goals given, and it's a correct decision because it wasn't a foul. And it's definitely a blunder by the ref. It's definitely a blunder. He's definitely done that wrong. But as I said, if it was us, I would be extremely upset about it. And he just doesn't need to do it. Just let the phase play. And then once it stops, say, it's a foul there, we'll check it. That's it. And then I don't know why there's such an eagerness to give the foul against us.
It's one of these strange ones, though, because ultimately the right decision was made, because at first we thought it's maybe been given for offside. We then see the replays here in the press box at Hampden, and you get one look at it, clearly not offside. You think another look at it and you say, well, it must be for a foul. I don't think it was a foul. So despite the protest or the protest, and despite the process, ultimately the right decision was reached in the end, because the Dessers goal should have stood and did stand. But as you say, if that's given against you in that manner that it's unfolded, you can imagine that Clement does not answer those questions in the same manner.
I think the argument doesn't stand as well that even if St Johnstone have stopped because of it, because the defender that's trying to get it off Dessers hasn't stopped. The boy that he chops inside, and then the goalie that comes out, they still try and involve themselves. So I don't get that, and I don't think anybody else that might have stopped is getting near him anyway. So if I think that genuinely, I think that it was the right decision, but just poor by the ref. It's a mistake, it's a blunder, and at that point we deserved it. And that was, even in that second half at the start, we could have had a couple already. You think about the one Czerny drops in, and Matondo had a wee run, didn't he, and his right foot shot went more or less at the goalkeeper, and he put it away with his feet. So it was a good moment for Dessers. Of course he has to chop inside before he shoots, of course he does. So it's quite funny in a way. But it's a good result for us. It was a good, listen, I know what people are saying, and I know that this team isn't good enough. I know where we are. Nobody needs to. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, but there was moments today that we can be pleased with. There was build up. There was little individual moments there that were good, and yeah, I think that there's reason to be pleased with the result today. Absolutely.
We spoke a bit about Danilo pre-match in terms of him being back in the starting lineup. He also got 45. Had a chance, I think, the one from the Diomande shot, the keeper parries. I think he can maybe have done better on that one. He had a header just before half time, actually quite a tricky one, to then try and get a bit of power on and get onto target. Overall, I thought he looked okay. Ultimately, though, it's 45 minutes in the tank, and hopefully next time it's an hour, and hopefully after that it's 75, and then we're starting to build him back up to where he can be a proper 90-minute option for Rangers again.
Yeah, absolutely. He should have scored, I think. He had three opportunities. The one where I think it's Matondo pulls it back to him. It might have been Jeffy actually with the overlap from Matondo's pass, wasn't it? So he pulls it back, and then he has a left foot shot over the bar. And absolutely should have scored the rebounded one. And the header was actually a good attempt, I think, because he's trying to power it, isn't he? So, listen, I think it's positive. He's getting into good areas. If you actually watch his movement for the cutback one, he actually finds a space by running round and finding that cutback space. So, I thought that was good, and definitely a 45 minutes to build on with promise, I think, when it comes to Danilo.
You mentioned Jeffy there in the build up to that Danilo chance. I thought at times he looked really promising going forward, and we spoke again pre-match about defensively, how good is he? Will he be tested? I thought he got through his defensive work well, didn't look overly troubled, and you can see what he's going to bring to the side as an attacking fullback. As we said pre-match, very quick, very direct. That relationship with Matondo is obviously a new one, but they interlinked a couple of times. Him and Danilo interlinked a couple of times. I thought he was definitely one of the more encouraging performers, because we know over these next 3 weeks, given the Ridwan situation, he will have to play a lot of football, and games like today should give him that confidence, a nice boost heading into that run.
Yeah, listen, I thought he was pretty promising. The overlap in the first half was really good. I thought he tired in the second half naturally. But you can see he's got a bit about him. He can cross, he can beat people for pace. He's got good recovery pace, which is also important the way that we played. So definitely an encouraging performance by him. Matondo actually used him quite well a few times on the overlap. So he showed enough for me that, and Clement spoke very highly of him, didn't he? In the aftermath, said that he's really well of the recruitment team and that to get him in and stuff like that. And I agree with that. We paid, little amount of money for him, as the manager said. And I just thought, that's the sort of one that we need to get, and get these cheap guys that you can actually progress and make into something. And I've seen enough for him to think that he's definitely got something about him with a little bit. He needs polish. That's fair, isn't it? He needs polished a wee bit, and we need to get him up to speed. But there's enough there to think that there's definitely a player in there that we can look forward to seeing a lot more of. Defensively, he's been challenged in pre-season. There was moments where we thought, right, he needs to be better at stuff. But I am definitely a promising performance by him today. I actually thought he was our best player.
Just finally, Stevie, the scenes at the end, the squad, the manager, and some of the staff going towards the Union Bears at the end. The manager was asked about it post-match. He said that it had been a pre-planned thing. He appreciated the effort that the Union Bears put in on Tuesday night. He appreciated them coming back. Not a big crowd here at Hampden, but Union Bears there. If it had not been for them, there would have been very, very little sound inside Hampden at all. Nice, I think, that the players and the fans appreciate them. And maybe the optics of it perhaps look a bit strange that after a 2-0 win over St Johnstone, you're going to the fans and you're celebrating. But I think the manager made it clear it wasn't about what they gave today, it's about what they've given previously. And he has to try and rebuild that rapport with the fans once again, because people, as we see in the chat, as you mentioned, as we all know, people are a bit down on this manager, they are a bit down on this team, they're certainly down on the club. That doesn't mean to say that everything has to be ripped up and start again, that everything has to be rotten all the time. And so I think the optics of it perhaps look a bit strange sometimes. You can understand them. I thought the manager explained why it was important to him and to the squad.
Before we get to that point, I just wanted to say as well on the performance, Chris, I thought John Suter was excellent. Came up with the ball lots of times from the back, and I thought it was really important today that he broke the attacking lines of St Johnstone. And the other tactical thing that I noticed, and we're back to doing this, and we've done it right at the start of Clement's reign, and this is something I think Josh will pick up on because he loves all this stuff, doesn't he? Me and you just go, it looks all right, but he does the technical stuff. But the inverted fullbacks were working again today, and you've seen it in the first half. Tav actually came in and played inverted, which freed him up a couple of times because we had an extra man in midfield, and I thought that worked well. So tactically, I could see what he was doing today. And we're very negative at times, and I just thought that was worth bringing up. I thought John Souttar, and I've questioned John Souttar in recent weeks. I thought he had a really good game, stepping up really, really well. And yeah, I thought that was good. To the end of it, what did I make of it? Look, I understand what we're trying to do. I understand, that he's trying to forge a kind of mentality and a togetherness, isn't he? I think that's what he's doing. It was a pre-planned thing. I get it. I completely understand it. Did it look great? Were we? Not really, but the way it's been the last couple of weeks and whatever, the start to the season, a win's a win. So I felt like celebrating a wee bit like that myself. But in all honesty, I get it. I understand why. Do I agree with it and things like that is another question. But, ultimately, see, everybody that turned up today deserved a bit of that thanks for coming along and attending. So look, it's a good job, clean sheet, lots of positives in there, created plenty of opportunities. We didn't take any, but it wouldn't be fun if it wasn't. So yeah, good result. I'm happy with that. Up the road.
I think good result, and up the road is sums up the afternoon or evening here perfectly. You can see, I say, both press conferences on the YouTube channel. You can read Clement's full Q&A on the site just shortly, and there will be an interview with Cyril Dessers on the site from lunchtime tomorrow as well. Join us back on Monday. Derek is back from his holidays. Josh is back after his weekend party. Me and Steve are going to have a well-earned day off. We're going to go and have a bit of partying ourselves just to celebrate after a fine victory here. But no, I think as you say, it's very
a win's
much
a win. Listen, a win's a win. Enjoy your weekend, folks. And yeah,
onwards and upwards. Hopefully. So, thanks once again for your time as always, and we will see you next week.